Have you ever wondered why school teaches useless things? Well, today I'm going to give you a little bit of perspective on that question. Hello and welcome to Capo TV, the channel where we know school is a joke, but you still have to do something. If this is your first time here and you also think school is a joke and you want to help spread that message, then hit the subscribe button now. A very common complaint about school is that it teaches you useless things. Rather than run down a whole list of those things, let's talk about the principles behind why school teaches you useless things. For some strange reason, trivia is still equated with education. What I mean by that is that you are told to memorize and learn thousands of different facts and pieces of information that don't have any practical application in your everyday life. In school, they practice a theory called just-in-case learning. That is, you're supposed to learn all of these things just in case you need it later in life. Chances are, though, you won't need 90% of the things that you learn in school. In contrast, in the real world, especially in the time that we live in, people should be practicing just-in-time learning. That is, the time to learn something is when you need to know it. A very good example of just-in-case versus just-in-time comes from a previous career I had as a trucking dispatcher. I worked as a trucking dispatcher and broker for fresh produce. That entire industry operates on the just-in-time model. When a shipper would call our office, they would want the produce the following day because they needed it that following day to go out to the grocery stores. Imagine if they followed a just-in-case model. They would waste so much time, energy, and warehouse space if they ordered things just in case they needed them in a few weeks. Instead, to maximize efficiency and profits, they waited until they actually needed the product before ordering it. The same should be true in education and schooling. A lot of time, energy, money, and warehouse space, that is the space between your ears, is wasted on information that you will probably never ever need in your life. That's why as a student and as a substitute, I have such a big problem with the way math, science, language arts, history, all the subjects are taught in a public school. Instead of learning how all of those subjects work together throughout history and identifying relationships between this person and this event and that event, you're told to memorize facts, dates, numbers, what have you. It's delivered to you in little compartments, and this one stays here, that one stays here, this one stays here. And if you ask, well, what do they all have to do with each other? You're not given that information. Frankly, I think it's because the teacher may not understand it him or herself, but that's a different axe to grind. So instead of gaining some perspective on the world and discussing it with other people, you're just told to memorize these little compartments, and that's how you're going to get educated. Now, before I wrap up, let me just counter some of the negative comments that could come from this. Yes, there is some information that it is good to know even if you may never use it, such as first aid or fire safety. Things that can actually save your own life or the lives of others. Yeah, you should probably learn that stuff just in case. But knowing the names and locations of major battles in the Civil War is not so useful in a normal person's life. It's fun to know if you're into history, but hold on. Today, almost everyone has one of these things in their pocket. If you want to know something, there, you know it. Facts and trivia and the typical way school is taught now is obsolete. There is not much of a value to knowing trivia unless you're going to be on Jeopardy or some other sort of game show. We're going to be living in a world where information is at your fingertips, and it doesn't matter who knows what, it's about what you do with it. School does not teach you how to navigate relationships. It doesn't teach you how to make connections between multiple different subjects that you're going to use in your everyday job. So why does school keep teaching you useless things? Well, little Billy, it's because it's easy to teach you useless things. There's already a system in place to do it, and there's no incentive to change the public school system until it completely collapses on itself, and by that time, it's too late. What sort of useless things have you learned in school, and what do you think you should have been taught instead? Leave a comment down below and let's talk about that. And if this was your first time here to Capo TV and you also think school is a joke and you want to help spread that message, then hit the subscribe button now. Thanks for watching. See you later. Bye.